Listen closely. Before flames, fear, and the name madman, there was a child, a boy born into power he did not choose, shaped by people he could not refuse. If you want to understand how Nero changed Rome forever, you must begin long before the madness. Stay with this story, because everything that follows begins here. Nero entered the world not in peace, but in pressure. From his first days, he was surrounded by ambition and danger. He was born into a family where power was everything and love was often a tool. Even as a baby, his life was tied to plans made by others. His birth name was Lucius Domitius Ahenobarbus. Carried a long, heavy family line. Carried pride, status, and expectation. He was not simply a child. He was a future piece in Rome's game of power, and that game was already in motion before he could speak. His mother, Agrippina, was strong, fierce, and driven. She had seen exile, loss, and risk. She learned that only power protects. She looked at Nero not just as her son, but as her path back to control. Nero was shaped by her hands, her plans, and her hard will. His father's legacy was dark and cold. Stories around him spoke of cruelty and anger. Nero did not grow inside a warm home. He grew inside a house filled with fear, calculation, and watchful eyes. From an early age, he learned that safety was uncertain. Nero grew up inside palaces where every wall listened. People smiled but hid secrets. Words sounded friendly but carried threats. Every move, every meal, every visit had meaning. As a child, he learned to stay quiet, to observe, to survive. He was raised by tutors more than parents. He learned how to read and speak, but also how to act in front of power. How to hide fear. How to keep his true thoughts locked inside. He was being prepared, shaped like metal in fire, long before the crown touched him. Agrippina demanded perfection. Stand straight, speak well, impress everyone. Nero lived under heavy expectation. Affection was limited. Approval had a price. Failure was not allowed. Inside him, pressure grew like a tight knot. He saw Rome's glory and Rome's pain at the same time. Golden halls, marble statues, great feasts, but also hunger, crowds, and fear in the streets. He grew up knowing that power created beauty for some and suffering for many. This shaped how he saw the world. Then everything changed when Agrippina married Emperor Claudius. Nero was pulled into the very heart of the empire. He became the emperor's stepson. He was placed near the throne, near hope and danger at the same time. Other heirs watched him as a threat. Politics wrapped around him like chains. He did not choose this life. He was chosen for it. Claudius later adopted Nero. Adoption placed him directly in line for power. Every step took him closer to rule and farther from being a normal young man. His name changed. His clothes changed. His future changed. His freedom slipped away. He loved music and performance. Art gave him escape from control. On stage, he felt like himself. Not a tool, not a symbol, just Nero. He found comfort in sound and applause. This love for performance would later shape his rule and also deepen his fall. But childhood did not end in peace. It ended in tension. Nero moved into adulthood carrying fear, pressure, pride, and the deep wish to be free from his mother's control. These forces followed him as he stepped into power. Claudius died. His death shocked Rome and raised whispers. People suspected poison. They suspected plans made in shadow. With Claudius gone, the throne stood open. Into that open space stepped Nero. He became emperor while still very young. The purple cloak of rule was placed on his shoulders before he fully understood its weight. Crowds cheered. The Senate bowed. The empire watched a new ruler rise. At first, Nero did not rule alone. Agrippina stood beside him, trying to rule through him. Seneca advised him. Burrus guided the army. For a short time, Rome felt order. Some even believed Nero might become a good and fair leader. But beneath the surface, strain grew. Agrippina wanted full control. Seneca and Burrus wanted balance. Nero wanted freedom. The struggle began quietly. Then it grew stronger. A mother's dominance pushed against a son's desire to stand on his own. Nero felt the sweet pull of power. One word from him could change lives. People praised him even when they were afraid. This attention felt warm and addictive. It touched his pride and fed his ego. The first signs of darkness appeared slowly. Harsh reactions, quick anger, strong desire to be adored. Nero began to care more about performance than duty. He loved applause more than careful thought. The stage called louder than the Senate. Conflict with Agrippina deepened. She reminded him of her role in his rise. She demanded obedience. Nero resisted. He pulled away. Their relationship turned from alliance into battle. Blood tie became power struggle. Rivals also stood in his path. Britannicus, the natural son of Claudius, remained a threat. Then Britannicus died. His sudden death sent fear through Rome. Whispers spread again. Many believed Nero was responsible. Even rumors alone changed how people saw him. After that, something inside Nero shifted. Once a moral line is crossed, others become easier. He began to mix fear with authority, paranoia with pride. He started to believe that danger surrounded him everywhere and that only harsh action could protect him. He also chased pleasure. Nights grew louder. Feasts lasted longer. He surrounded himself with people who agreed with everything he said. Real advisors seemed slow and dull to him. Flatterers became his comfort. Truth became unwelcome. The conflict with Agrippina reached its deadly end. Failed plots, collapsing boats, and secret plans filled the air around her. At last, Agrippina died. A son had removed his mother. A line far deeper than politics was crossed. Nero gained freedom, but at a terrible price. After her death, he felt both relief and guilt. No one stood above him now. No one controlled his choices. But the memory of what he had done stayed inside him and grew dark roots. His mind began to change. From here, Nero's rule grew harsher. He trusted less. He doubted more. He punished faster. He demanded constant praise. He believed himself greater than law and tradition. The emperor became a performer, and the empire became his stage. Then came disaster. Fire tore through Rome. Flames raced across homes, temples, markets, and streets. People screamed. Smoke filled the sky. Lives burned. Many believed Nero watched without care. Some believed he even saw art in the destruction. Whether all stories were true or not, the damage to his name was real. People suffered. Anger spread. Rumors grew. To protect himself, Nero blamed others. He chose targets. He turned fear outward. Punishment became brutal. Mercy became rare. Revolt rose in distant lands. Armies questioned him. Senators plotted. Friends betrayed. Nero felt cornered. The empire he once thought was his stage now felt like a cage closing around him. The applause was gone. Only echoes remained. In the end, Nero stood almost alone. Those who once praised him stepped back. Allies faded. Enemies closed in. He reached the final edge of power, where there were no more orders to give and no more stages to stand on. His fall came fast. The man who once ruled the world's greatest empire could not find safety anywhere within it. The crowds no longer believed. The Senate no longer obeyed. His own fear swallowed him. Nero's life ended far from glory. Not in shining marble halls, but in fear and isolation. He looked back on what he had become. A boy shaped by ambition. A ruler consumed by pride. A man destroyed by his own darkness. And yet, his story did not end with his last breath. His legacy lived on in memory, in writing, in warning. History remembered his rule as a turning point. Some saw him as pure evil. Some saw him as broken by pressure. Others saw him as both, a victim of power who became a tyrant through it. Rome changed after Nero. Power shifted. The empire learned, but also forgot, the dangers of pride without limits. His name became a symbol, not only of madness, but of how early forces, family pressure, and unchecked power can twist a life. Today, when people hear the name Nero, they think of fire, cruelty, and chaos. But behind that image stands a full story. A child shaped by fear. A young ruler lifted too fast. a man who lost himself inside power and performance. His early life set the roots. His rise grew the shadows. His conflicts fed the darkness. His fall sealed his place in history. His legacy warns us of how easily greatness can crack, and how deeply fear and pride can change a human heart. This is Nero's journey. From early life to power, from conflict to fall, from man to memory, a dark origin story that did not just change one person, but helped change Rome forever. If this story helped you see Nero in a new light, don't let it end here. Subscribe for more powerful history, like the video if it moved you, and press the bell so you never miss what comes next.